Hello, and welcome to the Healing Element Podcast. I am your host, Kai Murray, and welcome. I'm very excited for our conversation tonight. We are talking about building confidence, and I think this is a very important conversation that we're going to have tonight. So I have my very special guest with me tonight, Juanita, and I'm going to, she's going to introduce herself so we can learn more about the work that she's doing to empower women. So that way they can begin to change their lives. And through Change Your Life, that's all about building confidence and really stepping into your power. But if this is your first time joining the podcast, you can catch new live episodes here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is your place that you can come to learn how you can begin to prioritize mind, body, spirit. We've also added a financial wellness part of our conversation. And you can catch new episodes regarding finances at the last Thursday of each month, and that's starting in February. So lately we've been talking about all things cryptos, so we're going to continue that type of conversation. So with that being said, I'm excited for tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to exude confidence and what steps you can take to take that internal shift. So that way you can start to change your mindset and really change your life. And so we have Coach Mo here who's going to tell us how we can do it. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I've been looking for this since looking forward to us having this conversation since we had our little mini talk when I was in the car.
Yes.
Zoom. So I'm glad that we were able to connect and to bring you on the podcast. You're doing some really great work. And it's so needed. I know you have a vision board party that's going to be coming up soon, so I definitely want us to talk about that. Yes. So you're going to have to stay tuned, y'all, so you can hear what's going on with the vision board party, because you don't want to miss that as well. So with that being said, could you share with us a little bit about the work that you do and how you kind of your journey into the work that you now do with women empowerment? You're also an author, a visionary. So tell us some of your, the story that kind of led you to this space.
Well, okay. So my name is Coach Mo. Well, my name is Munina Mboyek, and but I go by Mo. Everybody calls me Mo. So I'm Coach Mo. I am the founder of Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger, and the V.A.S.T community, which is a all women's community. What I do there is I empower healing women to rework their mindset and break through repetitive cycles, because we know
yes
we can do it to ourselves, and just help them create a new life, the life that they really want, the life that they deserve. And I do that through one-on-one or group coaching. And right now I have a group coach setting that is virtual, like I mentioned, called the V.A.S.T community, where we come together weekly and we just work on what I call the V.A.S.T method: vision building, accountability, self-care, and time management, which I'll talk more on. And then the one-on-one coaching is a little bit more custom to who you are and what you need and what your needs are. So, and that starts out with a 12-week intensive. We meet every week. You have assignments. You want to work on this thing. And that is more of a like, let's get the ball rolling. When you first get to you say you want to work out and you get a trainer and they start
Mhm.
doing stuff and you like, I excuse me,
It's true,
I think you broke me. So,
right?
we're gonna do that in the first 12 weeks, but then if we want to keep going, then we'll break it up and we'll work together. But one-on-one coaching is super helpful, and group coaching is too as well, with the networking and just the sisterhood that is built from there. So that is what I do. That is who I am. I just really feel like it's so important to build
Mhm.
um an understanding of self
Mhm.
through understanding where you want to be, where you are versus where you want to be. So
So true. And
that's the
what I like
skinny of
about
it.
yeah, and I think what I like about the work that you do, and also in your book that we're going to talk about that, is that accountability piece, that commitment piece, because it does take work. As you said in your book, like change doesn't happen overnight. It's going to
No.
take work. It's going to take consistency. But the part that I also like is that you add in that help, that self care component that is so important. I know we're going to talk more and more about that, but as we were saying before we started, so many times in this space of like manifest your dreams and do the work, it's like I told you, like the ET is like, don't sleep, no time for sleep, just stay awake, like work 24/7. This is like, wait a second. So
Right.
I need to go to bed. So I like that you add that wellness component to it. Because that if you're exhausted and tired, you're not going to be able to think clearly at all.
At all. And just as women, you know, there is physically, biologically, our body needs to recoup. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what we're doing in this world, no matter how important we are, our body needs to recoup. God just so happened to give us an automatic, you need to reset for a couple of
Right.
days.
Right.
And we have to be we have to hold ourselves to that, because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise burnout is real and your family needs you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm getting older, my parents are getting older, they need me in a different way, and for people who have children, for people who have mental health issues or anything that's going on, you need to be able to reset and regenerate. So
Mm-hmm.
super important to take self-care
Mm-hmm.
serious.
Right.
And that's just not like go get your nails done. That is
Mm-hmm.
like go to the therapist,
Yeah. Yeah.
get some quiet time, read some personal development books, podcasts, sit
Mm-hmm.
by yourself, stop looking for other people's uh company just to feel better or just to not have to quiet yourself. Really quiet yourself and listen to what you really are needing, what you're yearning for, so that you can go after it. You have to be your own hero. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way out. There's no
Yes,
way.
that's so true because when you say that, when we're just constantly, um, just kind of involved with other activities and constantly listen to other people, then we just kind of get kind of absorbed, or they're just feeding us or programming us their information. And many times that can we can kind of lose our voice or our thoughts of how we should move forward because they're like, am I just kind of taking on everything else that I'm being taught, or am I sitting still and listening to what my spirit is saying, or maybe what God is saying, or the universe, whatever you believe, to help me create a path forward. So I like what you said about that, about just taking a moment, rest, relax. That's one thing that I have been I really got that message loud and clear because that's so important when you're looking to pave a path forward in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you know, a lot of times it really hits home when you talk about relationship, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
especially people who are not married yet and dating or something, and you have this unfulfilling relationship, but you don't want to leave the relationship because you don't want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
That is the time where you just really need to be alone. Some people are so afraid to that of that alone time, and they don't know the difference between lonely and alone. and and lonely, you can be around a trillion people
Mm-hmm.
and they don't penetrate, and they don't you can't feel them and they don't feel you the way you need. But alone is so important.
Mhm.
That is part of self-care. That alone time, that time where you get to know who you are, and that's where you build your confidence. That's where you build your
Exactly.
you. That's where you come
Mhm.
into knowing yourself, and you're able to say, "No, I don't like that." But how do
Mhm.
you know? No, I know.
Mhm.
People grew up
Right.
in the church, heard that, and I didn't particularly grow up in the church, but um, people who grew up in the church, you probably hear all the time, um, you got to know that you know that you know that you know,
Mhm.
right? You got to
Mhm.
know that God is real. You got to know that you know that you know.
Mhm.
And that's how you got to feel about yourself too.
Right.
You have to understand about yourself that what you said and how you feel about yourself and your philosophy, your doctrine about life is law. That's it. When it
Mhm.
comes, as for me and my house, as for me and my life, when I
Right.
said this, it's this. It's never
Mhm.
that. And I understand that because I understand that. And I took time for myself to build that up. And that's honestly what confidence is. To people who don't respect that boundary, it's gonna look like you're being mean, or like you're being
Right.
closed up, or 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 shut up or whatever. But it's
Mhm.
not that. That's real. You got to know yourself. That's super important. Nobody can tell you anything else about yourself once you take that alone time.
Right. That's
So,
so true. And so when you're saying that, like that's kind of like that core of being confident in who you are. Is that have you found that when you're working with women, are those some of the obstacles of them kind of stepping into that confidence of them really not knowing who they are? So what have you kind of in your one-on-one coaching and also in the group coaching as well, what have you seen as like some of those blocks that are hindering some women for stepping into their confidence?
really, the really, it's the same thing with all mankind. You're afraid for people to see your shortcomings or what you feel like a shortcoming is, so you don't step out and be fully transparent. And that's what I see as uh, the obstacle for all the women that I work with, who I know in some capacity, even myself, at times, we're afraid to let the world see us for who we are. We don't want to be judged. We want to be put into a box that we feel that we don't belong. That's the biggest obstacle, because once you're fully transparent, nobody can take anything and turn it around and turn you into something that you're not, because you already told your story first. I'm sure most of us have seen 8 Mile, and Eminem got up there and said, "Yep, I live in a trailer park. Yep, I'm this. Yep, I'm that." Now what you got to say? And his opponent couldn't say anything anymore.
Right.
um I think that's the biggest obstacle, us getting up there and being Eminem in that moment. Like, I don't like this about myself. I think I do good at this, but then when I turn around, I see the results and it's not that great. I wish I wasn't dealing with singleness, but I am. And sometimes it makes me sad, but I don't want to say that out loud, because then people will say that you not taking singleness as serious as you can, or you're taking
Mhm.
this time for granted. But no, or a lot of time, I'm bringing up singleness because I am single, right? A lot of times
Mhm.
people are like, well, girl, just take your time, because being married is hard. Ain't nobody said that it ain't hard. Okay, what I said to you was, I'm ready for that part of the hard. Okay. Just
Right.
it's hard to express yourself and be yourself, and because you're scared to jump over that hurdle
Mhm.
of just letting it all out, maybe because you didn't have that time, that one-on-one time yet to really give yourself a full foundation of
Mhm.
who you are.
Mhm.
So when you get out there and you try to be transparent, you're swayed from here and there because everybody's opinion is confusing you.
Yeah.
Um, that's one of the biggest obstacles that I feel like women, all human beings, but particularly the women that I work with, that's one of the biggest things. They didn't take that time first to really find out, like, what do I want? Like,
Mhm.
where am I versus what I really want? It kind of like scrambling, like, oh, here I am. So how do I deal with this? And I guess I'll take some me time and go do my nails or go do my hair, and I guess that'll be enough.
Mm.
That's not.
Yeah. And it's almost like because of that, I think what you said first, I have to go back to what you said is law. Yeah, I think Lovely said that. Like, it is, I love that. I think I'm going to adopt that. So saying, wait, so this is law, how I
Yeah.
feel.
My
I
yes
like
is
that
my
because
yes.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
There is
My yes
no
is my
other.
yes, but my no is
Exactly.
my no. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah. And even that self care, right? That self care in action, setting up those boundaries. And I like what you said about we have adopted where self care means go getting all these external things done. And it's that internal part that needs that care and love and support as well, which is what you do offer. This is why your one on one coaching is so important because then you can help to get to the root of issues and not just kind of cover it up with other things that make us maybe feel good when we get our hair done and nails done. But
Yeah.
inside, we're still not working on different traumas or different issues that we haven't started to resolve in our own life. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because you don't feel safe. And that's what I really push in my group setting and
Mm-hmm.
then one-on-one too. It's a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm big on this is law, right? So
I like that.
if this is if this is a if you start feeling nasty interactions in the
Mm-hmm.
group, you need to tell me because somebody got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're not doing here is nasty cattiness. There's a lot of that in this world. A lot of women don't get along with other women because they're taught to handle women that way. That's not what
Mm-hmm.
this is. I don't accept that in my own life. The friends that I have fostered um lifelong friendships with
Mm-hmm.
would never they would never treat me that way. And I wouldn't accept it. And that's the reason why we're lifelong friends thus far. And I would never treat them that way. Um so I want to make sure to have that environment in the coaching setting. But I do feel like um a lot of times women don't go deep because they're scared that this it's not a safe space. You can't talk about this with your mom or your auntie because they're nasty and catty too. That's the real about it. You know, so they need that safe space because going out and looking good is important. It's important. But being healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically is even more important.
Mm-hmm.
So if they find that safe space, they'll be able to say, "I'm scared of everything." you know,
Right.
I
Right.
I don't like this about me. I want to try this, but I feel like it's too late in my life. They'll be able to
Mm-hmm.
say that, and they'll be able to get a real, actual uh support, a actual championing behind them. Where you know, I'm gonna let you know. Listen, I'm 37. I went back to school. you know, I went back to school. I worked full time. I began a whole business
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the pandemic. okay,
Telling you.
I have an elderly parent who fell sick right before the panoramic started. That
Mm-hmm.
I took full responsibility of making sure that they are taken care of as much as possible, as much as they need. Like he's good now, but
Mm-hmm.
still. I'm at every doctor's appointment. I'm in the business. How you feeling today? What are you doing today?
Right,
You
right.
know? So I'm never gonna tell somebody, nah, it's too late for you. Oh, you can't. That sounds like it's out of your wheelhouse. But I'm also gonna help you devise a plan, a real plan, because you don't need to be afraid of success
Mm-hmm.
because everyone else around you doesn't believe in themselves.
Right.
You know,
Powerful, right? So they, because people you're around, they may not believe in, may not be happy with their lives or what they've accomplished. So then they'll try to pour that into your spirit,
or they just don't
into,
know any different.
yeah, yep.
They just don't know any different. Again, going back to relationship wise, there's women who will tell other women, as long as you don't know, what you mad about if he goes, I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
As long as I don't know what.
Right. Like, you
What?
didn't get my laws.
Excuse me? What do
Right.
you mean? If
Mm-hmm.
I go around on a rampage and killing people as long as nobody don't find out, is that okay? No. I'm wrecking
Right.
lives. I'm
Yeah.
messing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's doctrines and philosophies that we're taught um in our cultures, and it's not only the American culture, it's different, cultures
Mm-hmm.
all around the world, but as women that we really have to cleanse ourselves of. Um and sometimes we need to do that in a space that is created just for that. Just for that. And it's not always, where you think it would be, like with your elders and stuff that's right around you.
That's true. That's so true. Because if they haven't done the work, they're just going to pass on whatever behaviors or patterns that they've exhibited that
Right.
have not been healthy. They're going to pass that right along to you.
Right. And their actions and their philosophies have made that true in their life
Mm-hmm.
because they accept it. So it happens. And it
Right.
continues to happen. And they think that that's just life and they're gonna pass it down to their poor child. Their
Mm-hmm.
poor daughter is struggling and wondering why she can't think different or have a different life. You
Right.
know.
So, in what you're doing, and like I said before, when we open, what you're doing is combining that, the self care, the vision part, and action. Like that all comes together in your book, The V.A.S.T Method. So, can you share with us a little bit about what is the V.A.S.T Method, and how you are using that to help women begin to live out the vision that they have for their lives, but as we're talking about tonight, beginning to build that confidence?
So yeah, like I was saying in the beginning a little bit, the VAST is an acronym for vision building, accountability, self care, and time management. It came about because in 2011, I had a huge loss, a huge personal loss. I was pregnant with twins, and I got to about 5 months, and my body went into labor. And I always say my body went into labor because, uh, as a woman, it was a failure to my kids. My body failed my kids. They were fine, but my body couldn't hold them. So my body uh, went into labor, and my children didn't make it outside of my body.
Mhm.
And I just was in. On top of that, the person who was having the kids with didn't even come to the hospital, right? So, like I said, people are so afraid of sharing their story and being transparent, but that's real. Like, you think you're one person to someone because that's what you want to be, but really, they're not showing up in your time of need.
Mhm.
They're not, if you're not giving them what they wanted, they're not participating anymore. So I felt disposed of. Well, hey, I guess you're not bringing the kids in the world, so not the way that I wanted it. So I'm not I don't have I don't have to deal with this. Um, so I really had to step back and get alone with myself. I had to be alone with myself, and at first I didn't expect to have to be so alone with myself. I expected to be able to speak to my friends and I get some encouragement, but nobody could help. Nobody could say anything good enough to help me with this pain. Right. So until one day, we brought him up earlier, until one day, and it didn't happen today, but the first time I went on YouTube and I don't know how, when, where, what, how I found him, but Eric Thomas popped up.
Mm-hmm.
And he did these videos every week called Thank God It's Monday. So he said people come to work on Monday and they're like dragging and they hate it. And then by the, on Friday, they're like, yes, Saturday's coming tomorrow. And he was like, no, thank God it's Monday. Thank God it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He wanted to just turn that all around. So I used to watch all his videos all the time. I believe he started in like 2010 or something. So I had a good amount of videos to re-up to just keep watching. Um, because I really needed it. And then one day he had a video. Um, he would start the video. He was starting to get known for if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
and I got T-shirts, I got his books, I got. But one video he ended off, and remember, make the rest of your life the best of your life. And I said, oh, like I for real, literally cannot take anything that's happened to me from childhood until now and let that be part of my future if I want to survive and be happy. If I want to be filled up, fulfilled, none of the hard things that's happened to me can be an evergreen story for me. It has to be, I have to segment it.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of my life, it gets to be the best part that I live. So I said, I gotta see what that looks like, right? So that's where the vision building came in. I literally sat down and said, what do I want out of life? What who am I as a woman? What does God want me to be? Like, what did he create me to be? And I went into the Bible and I went to Proverbs. Now, my dad is Muslim. My mom is Christian, but my mom passed away when I was 12. So, and they both kind of promised each other they weren't gonna force anything on me. They will,
Mm-hmm.
let me know, and I would choose. So that to say, I didn't grow up reading the Bible. I didn't grow up in church. I didn't. Um, so basically, I opened it up to the Proverbs 31 woman. I had never read this story before, and I just read down the list of what this woman was like, and I was like, oh, when I grow up, at 26 years old, I was like, when I grow up, I'm gonna be her, you know. So that's where vision building was birthed for me. Everything that the Proverbs 31 woman is or symbolizes is so near and dear to my heart. And not because she was like, it's not about the part where, she made her husband look good, because that's written in here too. Like, everybody was like, oh, you the man, because she's the woman. It was the part where she woke up early before everybody and got things in order. She had her own business. She had her own plot of land. She was doing what she had to do, and she didn't have to do it because she had a husband who was, high in stature as well. But the way she was blessed everyone around her because she was intentional and she stayed on track, right? And I'm sure she kept everybody in line. So that's was important to me. I wanted to have direction. So vision building literally is thinking of the destination, thinking of it vividly, writing it down. That's it. It could be a huge destination. It could be, I want to be, the president of this association of this, and it's going to take 20 years. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vivid. And then what's your house going to look like? What are cars going to be in the driveway? What do your kids look like? What are they into? What about your husband? Or whatever it is, your partner. And then accountability. This is where you said you're gonna do it. Stick to the script, as Nipsey
Mm-hmm.
used to say. God bless his soul. You got to stick to the script. I said I want this, but no matter what happens, I have to stick to the script because it's gonna get hard. You're gonna feel like you have to stop. I can't do this right now. I can say an example. I'm back in school. I had to do a class of math where I had to go back into math that I did in high school. I don't remember that. And what's worse is it's the easiest part of math, supposedly. But the fractions though, huh? I don't remember that. That's not even high school. That was like fifth grade. I don't remember that. So that was I wanted to quit. I was like, oh no, I'm not. I'm not smart enough to go back to school. That's how No, but you stick to the script. I got an A in that class. I'm all right. I can figure out YouTube
You
University.
more than survive. You
Right,
more
I'm
than
more than
survive.
survive. And then
Yeah.
self care. I always talk about self care not being outward. Self care is inward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, you really have to think through like going to a therapist. Get somebody to talk to who's a professional who can really help you. Get you a coach. You want to start a business or you want to work on your personal development, get a coach. Shorten the time, shorten the gap between figuring it out and getting it done. I gotta say for myself, I did a lot of it alone. It took me 10 years to figure it out. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time. We don't get a second chance at life.
Mm-hmm.
For one lifetime, that's a long time to figure something out when I could have got a coach. But talk to yourself positive. The affirmations and things, but you have to be real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be saying I am a millionaire today. Like, all right, you know, but like, speak to yourself how you would speak to your best friend if they were down. Be true to the positivity that you would give to somebody you love. Don't talk down on yourself because if somebody says something negative to me, you know, it's possible that I might snatch you because who you talking to. So you have to think like that to yourself. Who you talking to, and then work on your health. That's the self
Mm-hmm.
care,
Mm-hmm.
and then build those healthy boundaries. Let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. And then the time management is just really a lot of time people think they don't have time for certain things, and the truth is you have more than enough time to take care of what you need to take care of. You're just not prioritizing, and you didn't put it in front of you. I have a whole spreadsheet that I work out with the ladies,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they realize like, oh, I have 6 whole hours today that I'm not doing. Oh, and so you said you didn't have time to work on writing your book. Oh, I wonder what hour in the 6 hour that you don't have time, to
Right.
work on writing your book. So
Yeah. And then when
that's
you
the
see
best.
it like that, right, you can't run from it
You
because now
can't.
you're faced with it. So it's like, ooh, I have no good excuse. I have to own it.
And it's not just an accountability marker. It's freedom. It is freedom. It gives you freedom to understand like I'm not as held down and bound as I think I am. That's like I spoke about earlier. It's that fear that holds you down and binds you that you don't. It's not real. You are not held down or bound by anything. You are free to have the life you truly desire to have. Plain simple. Easy. You're free to have it, but you have to believe that. And you have to go after it. You have to be intentional. You have to be strategic, yes. But you also have to think and be free.
Mm-hmm.
And be okay with
Yeah.
being free. Be okay
And
with
that's
being free.
big too, right?
Yeah.
If you're not used to that, that could, even though you could say, I want freedom, I want to experience that, But if you're not used to it, that's a transition that you're going to have to get to use to change that mindset of limiting yourself and knowing that, okay, you no longer have to live that way. That's
Yeah.
a major adjustment as well.
And the way you do that is really just going for the things you want, even if it's in small steps, going
Mm-hmm.
for it. Because then you realize, it's nothing to be afraid of. But yeah, while you do, and be okay with going through the motions and the emotions while you're trying that new thing. I probably cry 3 times a week while I'm in school because I'm like, what am I doing? Why did I do this to
Yeah.
myself? But
Mm-hmm.
to be real, I've it's been so rewarding. I have never gone to school and had a high GPA. That just wasn't me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I now in this degree with like a 3.8, maybe 3. I don't know what my GPA is going to be at. 3.8. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh me, that's that's crazy to me, you know. So, but I'm uplifted because I did it. I
Mm-hmm.
did it, and I had more at stake this time in my life than back when it was time to go to college right out of high school. I didn't, you just skipping along in life.
Mm-hmm.
I did it, and I killed it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I feel good about myself for that. So, but if I didn't try, I would always keep thinking I'm the same 17-year, 18, 19-year old who didn't finish college because I wasn't focused. But I'm that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So go after it. Go after it and let yourself cry and let yourself be sad and let yourself be tired
Mm-hmm.
in those, small steps.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that. Taking that moment of however you're feeling, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to express it.
Mm-hmm.
Because along those lines, for me, when you talk about that transition of starting a business in the midst of, what did you call it?
The panorama.
The
The
panorama.
Jim Jones called it a pandemic.
Oh
So.
my God.
I'm from Harlem, so I said Jim Jones called it a pandemic. I'm gonna call it a pandemic
A
too.
panorama. That's what so personally, I left a job, a career. I had a career politics for 10 plus years. Left that in 2019 to start a wellness business. Did not know a panorama
Uh-huh.
would happen. And here I am in a new city, new state, trying to start a business. And as far as, networking opportunities, everything is shut down. So now it's like, okay, now I have to position to virtual, which I did not feel comfortable in a virtual space doing yoga because I like that connection to people being around me and creating a warm environment.
Yeah.
And so there were several times where I had several breakdowns of like, what did I do? Like, I love stability. Like, I love
Yeah.
to go after this thing, like full steam ahead. Like, and so one thing that I have learned is what you have spoken to is it is okay to have those moments of pause and just that release. Maybe it's a cry, maybe it's writing, whatever. You don't always have to just keep going. And I think that was the thing that I thought I just had to keep pushing, don't cry,
No.
don't show those type of emotions. But that's not healthy, and you're just suppressing it, and it's gonna come out some type of way.
Yes, and on top of that, like in general, I'm not that person. In general, I'm not gonna. If you see me crying for real, like it's the end of something. So end of life, end of like something.
Mm-hmm.
But I could not hold it in. First of all, I'm in the house by myself for 2 years. I don't need to hold this in. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna cry about it. But also, you mentioned the move to virtual as being frightening, but but me on the other side, when I'm looking at the bigger picture, I never, being fully transparent, I never was going to go to networking events.
Mm-hmm.
I am a full on like introvert. I have a podcast and I have a segment called the Introvert Corner. I am a full on introvert. I'm
Full
not going
definition.
strangers. What?
Uh-huh.
What are you talking to me for? I don't like it. If I come into a room full of people, I need to find the corner. I need to not be in the middle of people. I feel so uncomfortable. I feel on edge. I feel at times I feel activated, violent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have social anxiety, basically, to say that. So, but the big picture about it is this virtual exchange made it possible for me and you to come into a space and place where we could share this
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, you would have been outside networking and I would have been in the house working my 9 to 5 and that's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the big picture is it you know, when we don't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not working for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big picture. And when I see things being hard, I think about that. I think about all the years that I waited to work on certain things and the knowledge that I built up and that's bubbling over now because of the time that I took and the time that it took for me to be able to get it out. And it
Mm-hmm.
was worth it, even though it felt uncomfortable while it was happening. Like, even though I was like, hello, what is going on? you know?
Right, right. It's so powerful. When you said that, it reminded me of something. And actually, I made a post about it where, like, in the crypto space, and I know some people are like, cryptos, stay away from them. And other people are like, invest. So I'm not even trying to have that type of
I'm trying to
conversation.
learn.
I'm just saying of what's said in that space. And it's, there's a gentleman, and he says, like, because there's a lot of volatility in the crypto market because it's not regulated. And
Right.
so he says, when in doubt, zoom out. But I've taken that to apply to life. Like when I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, like this is
That's
going
it.
wrong, that's going wrong. And when he's like that, zoom out, just take a moment to look back to see the growth that you've had. And it's like, wait a second, if I got through this, and that,
That's
come
it.
on now, right?
That's
I
it.
can push past this. Or I could take a moment, as you said, to just take some quiet time to myself because you zoom out and you see all the progress that you've made. But when you're in it, it's hard to see it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that because that has helped me, especially for these last few months,
Yeah.
especially like, okay, Kai, zoom out.
Yeah.
Look how far, look what the progress that's been made. Because you're right, sometimes you don't see it because you're just kind of digging and digging and digging and just taking that moment. So yeah, so that's one thing that has been helpful to me. I've been zooming out a lot lately, I must say.
Yeah. No, in my
But it's
hardest
been
times,
helpful.
to that point, in my hardest times, I make sure to reach out to people. And
Mm-hmm.
that is my version of zooming out, as you said, because compassion and empathy helps you understand that you're not alone in what you're feeling in your day. You're not alone in your day. You can reach out to your best friend and she's like, my car broke down today. While you're just upset because, you didn't lose 2 pounds that you thought you was going to lose by Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Life is happening to everybody. That zoom out really helps you understand that. And that helps you show yourself grace when you're really about to like punch down on yourself. That's
Right.
so that zoom out concept is really, really vital. It's really important.
Yeah, and you're right. And it does, it helps put things in perspective. Like, okay, wait a second. Like the whole world isn't crumbling. Like
Yeah.
I can manage this. So I did want to mention, and for those that want to purchase the book, the V.A.S.T Method, I recommend it. I'm telling you, just going through it helps to put things in perspective. It helps to recenter yourself when you get distracted with whatever else is going on in your life. It helps to kind of recenter and shift to like, okay, these are my priorities. This is what's important. And one thing that I like that you put in there, and this is one thing that I talk a lot about, and I love when I saw this about the principles that you listed, because I think that's so important. And that's like, have your guiding principles. of how you live your life. So, can you talk to us a little bit about the principles that your decision to add these core principles to the book and why it's important for people to have like these guiding principles in their life?
Um, well, let me know one of the principles that stood out most to you.
Okay, let me get my phone. And I think I'm gonna get have to get my charger too.
No problem. No problem.
This is live.
um.
All right, so let me pull this up.
Okay. So
And
we have.
so what I'm gonna do, if you talk about the why you decided to do the principles,
Yeah.
adding that to the book, I'm gonna get my charger so we don't lose
No problem. No problem.
signal, and then I'll get the one that spoke out to me.
Okay. Cool. So we have aspire big, inspire bigger. And that goes into what I just talked about, like looking to serve others or looking to understand that your life is not just your life. Your life makes a difference to others, and it matters how you live your life, because you can have a big vision that you began and someone in the next generation finishes. I was watching a interview that Halle Berry did, and she played Dorothy Dandridge, and she won the Golden Globe, I believe that's what it was, or Oscar. And Dorothy was, at one point she was nominated, but she didn't win. And Halle said, um, the day when I got that Oscar, I was so in shock. But the next day, I felt like I finished it for Dorothy. Like I won this for her. And so there are things we do in our lifetime that may supersede our lifetime. So you need to aspire big so that you can inspire bigger. The next generation needs you to think big and bigger. Peace serves as power. That goes into your healthy boundaries, understanding who you are, understanding what you're about, and understanding what you're not about, and understanding how to convey that to everyone else. And that is your power. And you could be at peace with all the decisions that you make,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where your power stands. Some people, you just know, like, oh, they're not going for that, and but they're at peace. They're nice people. They're nice, peaceful people. Be who you say you are. That's real. There's a lot of liars, and you're faking it to yourself, and you think nobody can see that you're a faker. Everybody sees the truth. We all
Mm-hmm.
know you're lying. You cannot lie to anyone else. You can lie to yourself if you think you want to, but you know that you're lying, and we see that you're lying before you even open your mouth. Um, and you can be a victim or a victor. It's your choice.
That's the one.
That's
I
the
have
one.
it up now on my wait, can you guys hear it? Because it's on my phone. Yes, the victim or victor, what's my choice here? And the reason why that one spoke to me is because later on in your book, you talk about you are the author of your story.
Yeah.
And I just thought that that flowed so perfectly with you decide what role that you want to play in your life. So yeah, so that was the one that I was like, oh yes, because at the end of the day, you decide
Yeah.
how
You
things are going to play out in your life.
you really do. You really have the power. It's so crazy because a lot of us are taught that we don't. We
Mm-hmm.
can't. We can't. Give it to God, or whatever it is. And I'm not saying God is not all, okay, and all powerful and all being, and we're not here because He created us, but you got some responsibility in your life. You need to do some work, and that victim mentality will rob you and kill your future. It will rob you of everything that you ever wanted. You are not a victim. You are responsible, and you are the victor. You are the superhero of your own life. You are Superwoman or Superman. Nobody else. And the last one is how I pretend to be takes energy from who I intend to be. That I think that's super real, because it goes also into, like, if you're gonna live a facade, you're working to live that facade, and you're taking away all the energy that you actually need to work towards living your true authentic life. And it takes energy. So we spoke about earlier, you feel like I need some downtime. I feel like crying. I feel like, what am I doing here? That is energy. You feel zapped, and you're on the right path. So imagine if you're using that energy to act like you're something else. You don't have that energy to really, you know, reset yourself when you are tired from really doing the work that you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So who you pretend to be will take away from who you really are intended to be. So those are principles that I definitely live by. They help me stay sane. And
Mm-hmm.
they're principles that I absolutely hold to anybody who's in my life. You
Mm-hmm.
said this is who you are. What's up? You have to be, because you're not gonna drive me crazy. I tell
Mm-hmm.
my dad likes to, so he don't like to lose the argument. Basically,
Uh-huh.
don't let him finish his story. I say, you ran around that whole thing. You tired yet? Because that's not what you said in the beginning. You're not gonna drive me crazy. He's like,
I
he
like
can do it to
that.
everyone else, but not here. No.
Not here.
Yeah.
So I want to say for those that are listening, please give this video a thumbs up if it is resonating with you. It's a beautiful message that Coach Mo is sharing with us. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up and please share with others because this is all information that is also practical, right? It's not something where it's like, I don't know if I can manage this. She's giving you practical advice through her book, The V.A.S.T Method, also the one-on-one coaching, and also the group, the Facebook group. I'm sorry, it's not a Facebook group,
No, it's through
right?
Zoom. It's a
Through
virtual
Zoom. So
online.
it's a
Yeah.
Zoom group. I just threw in Facebook. But it's a group that she has that creates that support system that you need to begin to transform. Because as you said when we began this conversation, is that so many times when we are going through things, we don't have safe spaces to share. And you have created a safe space where people can release and really begin to make the changes that they need in their life. And what you're providing is this is long-term change,
Yeah.
right? It's not like, okay, I'm gonna do this for 7 days or 30 days and I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. It's like, no, this is a pattern that you're now creating in your life for lifetime change.
Yeah. This is a lifetime change because it takes a lifetime to change your life. It does. It takes a lifetime to change your life, and I think that a lot of times we stop in the middle. We stop at the good part, right before we get to the goal, because we don't want to keep trying. We also don't internalize the understanding that every day is a new effort to make the rest of your life the best of your life. It's really that, when I tell you, if ever I meet him face to face, I had to thank him for saying that out loud. That's important because that's every single day, is the day you work on making the rest of your life the best of your life. So it's ongoing. It never stops. Every day I do better than I did the day before,
Yeah,
intentionally, on purpose.
on purpose and intentional, powerful. And do you think that, understanding that this takes work, it's constant work to push the ball forward, and it's not like, okay, overnight I'm this brand new me. Do you think some of that is because we live in a society where it's like we're used to that quick fix? We're used to like, take this diet pill, drop 20 pounds, do this, and then like we've kind of moved away from understanding that that type of success that we want in our life, it does take time. There's not like a pill that you can take that automatically that change occurs.
No, um, the truth is, it's hard. That's the truth.
Mm,
It's hard work doing the right thing. It's hard work doing what's best versus what's available. It is hard work. This is your version of living off the grid, where everything else is available to you in a supermarket. It's quick, it's easy, it's microwavable, but this, you have to hunt for it. You have to clean it properly. You have to ensure that it is not infected, so that you don't poison yourself. And then you have to start the fire and cook what you have hunted. And you gotta cook it properly. And it's gotta taste good, but you don't got adobo. you know, that that is the truth. The truth is it's hard to do the things that you need to do in order to have the life that you really truly want. So I don't want to discount that for anyone. Um, but though it's hard, hard doesn't mean impossible, and hard doesn't give you an excuse not to go after it and go on, pushing through, because the time is going to pass anyway. You think that you're too old now, and in 10 years you're going to be 10 years older, still not accomplishing what you really wanted to accomplish, and there's going to be somebody who's 10 years older than you who just went and accomplished that. So you need to understand that the time is going to pass, and life is going to be hard whether you did what you were supposed to do or what you thought was going to come easier. Life is hard, plain and simple. So yeah, that is what I think. I don't think it's, people are impatient. I think people understand that it's a big responsibility to take responsibility for themselves. And it's scary, and it's hard, and you fail, and you get embarrassed, and you get heartbroken. And people are afraid of feeling those particular feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but the people who are out, you know, living and breaking barriers and breaking chains, they live through those emotions and they live through those feelings, and they're able to process trauma in a totally different way than people who never go forth and do that. So yeah, you might get a little traumatized here and there, and trauma is not a small thing to deal with, but uh, the work that you do, that you put forward, uh, will be so deep and so fruitful that you will learn how to process your own trauma, and you won't have to stay stuck in it. If you don't do that work, the sad part is you get stuck in that trauma. You get stuck in that trauma. And then there comes a time when you are no longer mobile, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that is those, that are those people who you meet and they have deep regrets. And when they're leaving this earth, it's an unrest.
Mm-hmm.
you know it's that's a sad ending, to something that could have ended out so sweet. So that's my answer to that. Do I think that people are just like moving? No, I think that people are stuck. That's what I think is really happening.
Mm-hmm.
They're stuck and they're scared to move because they
Mm-hmm.
know when they move, they gotta be responsible for getting themselves conditioned and being able to fight, and getting around that punch, and making sure they don't get kicked. They have to,
Yeah.
do the work to help block those traumas, and it's a scary thought. It's a scary thing to be a
Mm-hmm.
part. But do I
It
think you
is.
can do it? Yes. Do I think you should do it by yourself? Probably not. That's why you got coaches out here. That's why you have podcasts. That's why you have
Mm-hmm.
all of these things to help you, because there are people who went out and said, "Oh nah, I don't know what they do back there, but I'm jumping out of here because it's
Right.
getting tight in that boat. I'm getting in the water,
Right. Right.
and we know how to get you to the promised land. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We know
So
that.
true. And you know, when you said that, and you said you had so many gems in what you just said, and part of that, what you said, I saw like that vulnerability too that comes with it, of being afraid. And
Yeah.
the last thing that I'll, I'll say generally, because some people are like, I have no problem with vulnerability. Generally speaking, we don't like to feel vulnerable.
No.
That is right there is like say a what? Like
Yeah.
avoid vulnerability like the plague,
Yep.
and so but when you're doing that work, that comes with it.
Yeah.
And so just when you said that, I kind of saw kind of weave throughout that is that space of vulnerability that, it is uncomfortable. It
Yeah.
is a very uncomfortable space to be in.
And all in all, vulnerability is is where you, that is where the peace is. That is where the power is. Your vulnerability is where your power lies.
Mhm.
The more you dig into that, the more you grow. You mighty morphing. The more you
Yeah,
vulnerable, you're mighty morphing. I'm telling you, it's really
yeah.
where the power is. And that's where I need to be. I need to be where the power is because I don't want people, pulling me by the collar. I don't like to get jumped. Okay,
Mhm.
don't jump me. Get off me. I need to be in control of my senses, my limbs, my everything. So get
Right.
vulnerable, get real with yourself, and work on yourself.
Yeah, so true. And I know, oh my goodness, we are like up against time. So again, Coach Mo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. There are a couple things I just wanted to make sure that we touch upon before we wrap up our session to our episode. I said our session, like this is a coaching the one-on-one coaching session I just had with you. But to wrap up the episode today, so if people want to purchase your book, The V.A.S.T Method, how can they do that?
Everything that has to deal with anything that I do is on my website, aspirebiginspirebigger.com, where I house my, link to my ebook. I house links to my events. I have free monthly events. I also have a annual vision board seminar where I have speakers coming and um, coming up on December 19th. And so you can get yourself a ticket on that website as well for inspirebigger.com. And yeah, come and join us. Come have fun. All of that. That's how you can continue to connect with me. And we're gonna do some challenges after the vision board because I know a lot of people don't like do vision boards. They think it's arts and crafts. They think it's kitty. All those things. Like no, it is what you make it. Like I've been saying. I think if anybody can take anything from what I've been saying, is like you got to be responsible for what you do with it. So we're gonna do our vision board, but we're also gonna do some challenges after to make sure we implement a real plan to really get our 2022 for real. Like what's on my vision board for 2021 is checked off. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
checked off, and it's not even December yet.
Mm-hmm.
So this is real. This is something that is a real life thing. That is a real tool that you can utilize to get your goals and get your things in place. Attain your goals. So yes,
Yeah.
that's where you can find everything, um, and stay connected to me there.
Awesome. And so all of your information is in the description box. So if you're watching this live episode on YouTube, you can find her website and all of her. And then we have someone that said here, had a great time last year, looking forward to participating in this year. Yes. So I'm going to
Good.
go get my ticket so I can be there. So make sure that you guys go to her, the website, more information about Coach Mo. You can find that all in the description box. And if you are looking at and watching this on Facebook, you can also find all of her contact information on there as well. So please make sure you sign up for to purchase her book, but also to sign up for the vision board because vision boards, I've been doing that for a few years now. So I am with you. It is what you make of it. It can either be something that's alive that you're actively working on, or something you just hung on a wall, you created and hung on a wall, and that's it. So
Yeah.
you're right. It depends on how intentional, as you've been saying, that you are with creating and manifesting everything that you've said that you wanted to create for your life.
Yep.
So this was awesome. I enjoyed having you on the podcast. You
Yeah, I
dropped
had a
so
good
many
time.
gems. You
Thanks.
got enough. I know you got quotes in your book. You need to have a quote like Coach Mo quotes. Because you did, you dropped so many gems, and I know everybody here appreciated all the information that you shared. So
Yeah.
again, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Please also share this important information. Also subscribe to the channel. So I hope you guys have a fabulous night, and make sure that you join me next Tuesday for another episode right here on the Healing Element Podcast. You guys have a good night.
Later, y'all.